Waiting on signal for everybody in line connections, height center, position of programs. There's a lot of communications and confusion, especially when you get activated. People really have to get out of the resistance and let things flow because they're so embedded in position locations. So, and it's never anybody's fault. I mean, it's just trying to understand these things. Just some more embedded than others when it comes to applications. I go through this 1,000 times to set locations. And all I just keep saying to everybody is stop resisting. Stop trying to figure things out. Stop trying to understand what it means. Stop saying this. Stop saying that. Just stop figuring these things out. All right, or you never be able to understand the mechanism flow. It's an energy line that changes all calculations in your system. Change your cortex, change your streams, change your tractions, change all link divisions, to change your implementations, all line back in positions of where you're supposed to be, which is the existence of the now. Right? So people get very confused at that locations. Right? It's totally normal to be resistant. Right? But you don't want to high volume your system to its location center because it offlines your channel and it puts you into deeper course allocations. Whether or not, if you don't understand it, it's totally fine. You're activated, you're existing. So the more you let go, the more you understand, right? How an implementation can be so embedded in so many levels and applications. It all depends on your age lines, right? If you're, let's say you're 36 years old on line rotations, well, that's 3,000 lines. Calculation is 600 line rotation centers, right? 3,600 years old. So, that's unbelievable. That's a lot of communications of files. So in that position locations, when you wake up for the very first time, you start to recognize your system for the first time. You understand your higher self, your avatar, and your sim in position location of your systems. What the higher self is, what the avatar is, the basic understanding through its instruction, and location of your sim, which is your simulation, intelligence, identity, modification, memory. Okay? So these are the things that we all have to look at in positions. So it's important that we understand how this all works. Okay, so in position, we have a very busy week. I was going to do it on live line, but I said no, I'd do it on Zoom because we've got a lot to do. The calculations, your brain frequency patterns, and your cerebral cortex line calculation study has to come into all positions, all levels. Now, in that rotation center, it's about the CPU reset position programs, getting your position location in your systems into all levels of clockings. Now, we're going to get out of 20 lines of high calculation setting into all measure. Now, positions all levels of you. So in that position location, you get you into 20 line setting location streamlines into 4 measure, 4 scales, 4 lines, 4 pi. Directing positions all levels. XT lines, 1 line, 1 frame, positive over charge. So in position comes into 5 elements. Okay. Sets position all levels times 2 lines XT line 1, line rotation center, puts positions of 7 lines, which is your bodies of water, into 5 atmosphere streams. 12 line division locations and setting attractions. Times 2 lines, calculation 24. Direction timing sequence locations setting. Puts all levels of operation. Now it's very complicated because General talks more like a computer because you guys are higher rising faster, especially with my team set locations, right? So we all understand how this all works. How do I understand how to use myself through computer frame? How do I understand how to use myself through an algorithm? How do I understand how to use myself through formulas of equation? And that's what the test is based on. Everything that you already know in memory, everything that you already know in your truth of who you are and who you're becoming and where you are, where you're going, and where I am now. I'm here. Okay. So everybody exists. Nobody's left. And I keep saying that over and over and over and over. So you've already you're already in setting. The only difference is you have to be opened up to the mind. This is the mind of consciousness of technology, putting everybody in positions how to use their chakra system, especially when you're 114 atmospheres of space and time through provision. You've got to get into the emotional settings. You've got to get into your connections to all levels. Get into your ESP, your external sensory perception. Get into your energy magnetic fields, your EMFs. Get into your impulses. Get into your audio tracks. Get into your inputs. Get into your data, input, line calculation settings. Get in your operation surface. Get into your human resonance. Understand how to use the higher self. Understand how to use the avatar. Understand how to use the sim. That's what it all is. Understand the frequencies, the low mediation, high mediation, or medium. Go up and down to flux, vortex, vortex correlation, vortex calculation, vortex stream location settings. These are the things that we have to identify ourselves more and more each time we get in set locations, especially when we come into recharge. Okay? All right. So the test is based on Formula's equation. You can have it on paper, you have the weekend, or you can have it in the mind lines. Between like, let's say 1 minute, 2 minutes track. Okay? 2 minutes on clock line settings, I just need to see, because the thing is, your brains and set position, your cerebral cortex line is getting more recognition now. You have to do it through formula equation, okay? Because that's what it's coming back to. All set positions to cerebral cortex, placebos. So directing lines of pi, and direct locations. Remember, you got in this correlation and track lines. Okay. Well, mechanism high force line settings. Okay. 24 clock line rotation. So pi indicates you in all ways and forms, how you use it through your higher self, your avatar, and your sim. Okay. It's important you understand that set locations of setting, especially when you come to modification to your system of clocking, circulation, right? So window lines, frames lines, box line, rotation, center position, all level calculation settings. Calculation high settings, all level line, rotation, center interference. Okay. Okay, so in the position, change location settings, subtractions. Directing lines of communications indicates all line settings. Okay. Now, set position, location, line center, and high lines of face recognition, time lines, rotate surface locations. Now, gets interested in 4-point systems. Okay, 3 in traction and 2 in measure. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And 1 and 2 in measure. Okay. Ground side location settings. Operation surface, crop circle, operation center line, in line position to its operation locations. Okay, 3 generation pass. Now this where comes in energetic wall lines, panels, line rotation surface into wall sequence. Sets position locations, all of this. This where comes in perspective and position locations of operation. Okay, now working inside line connections. Right. Inside locations we cross lines. Okay. Into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we do the same there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, very powerful, isn't it? So electrical line calculation settings of 3, center position locations. Okay, and then we go through line rotation and 3 line position. Okay, then we go up lines into magnetic highway information line into all location centers, magnetic fields, and set position operation. Okay. Okay. Getting in that position line conditions high system. The circle line communication ground lines opens up patterns. Now this comes in all line rotation surface into your sun in communication to its program setting. Okay. Tunnels and defense line calculations, platforms and position travel lines. Okay. Into program settings. Your CPU line rotation surface triangulates all levels of center communication to cerebral. Okay. Done by equation. All right. So we have to understand how to modify high set location centers. So if you look at that location system, it's the exact same thing, set location. Okay. So completing the cycles is really understand how to get into your system locations. So forming this equation, clock lines at 24, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I've got 18, 19. You guys are in 20 now, right? So 20 lock line screens, 20 to 24. Pi setting, okay? Directing lines of clock line rotation, center lines of 6 line communications into 9 line set lines, okay? And so we have the indicate position of center, clock lines 24, 24, and position locations into 20, a travel. Okay, so that is position secure system. So the little hand is line connections to what? You got the sun line equals line position, so always working location system, right? You're working with light traction, location the moon, and location system, higher self. Okay, equalize the avatar, equalize location is the sim. Okay, hemisync, absurd line, systematic line calculation setting, systematic lines of memory. Equalize high calculation stream location at 24 clock lines in 3 track locations high setting. So 20 lines of position, equalize of 4. 4 equals lines, 1 xt line rotations. So that's negative over pi. Pi positions over negative line set location line system. So that's 1 over 2, 2 over 1 in line rotations. 1 track location settings, 1, 2, 2, 1. Position all levels, equal line coordinate settings of 5. Set location lines of high set lines of 5 line rotations. 5 equals lines of 2, equal line condition of 7. Bodies of water track location. Now, in that position that comes into 12 line settings, that's times 2 line rotations and 1x 2000 line rotation surface in the location system. So in that position puts 12 lines in a location of 2 in position of 24. 24. So the collect location line centers sets position location to its pi in 2 line settings. Calculation modification line rotations into its pi and indicate highest center lines of circle line rotation surface in triangulation reset programs. Direct line communication 24 lines of high calculation of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20 lines of 24 into a Stargate panel. Opens up sequence location centers and track location. In position to its operation. Okay. Signifies 3 lines of set location. Travel position location, sun comes in. Okay. In an upswing, line row center. Okay. And a downshift cross line calculation line settings in all levels of operation surface and position. Okay. Done by equation. Okay, so that centers out. Mechanism of all levels of bracket communication line centers. So you guys on a 24 line stream. Wait in that signal. Fraction equals all factors. Factors over force. Force over volume. And volume over velocity. And velocity over vector. Vector over try. Measure. Set location. Okay, measure the communication line, same as high traction. Okay, so get in line connections vectors cross location. High position line centers. Okay, now in that position of the measure, scales lines in the line center interference in position of vector cross. Cross is path, line centers high position, operation surface. Now we come into the formulation into vector in line connections velocity into volume in 3 line settings. Triangulation line rotation in position to its operation. Okay. 3 triangulation line calculations. Okay. In position. Okay. Now we come into 2 security panels lines. Okay. Now in that position, we set a measurable count line and positions all levels as high calculation. See? And we go into scan settings. Okay. Into 1 signature, into 1 line connections of operation. Okay. Now in that line interference, we get the XC1000 and 2 line connections, top line signals, right? So scan position, formation, scans position, formation, scans position of energy and line connection. Okay, it's complicated, right? This is a formula, this is an equation. So you have to understand how to go through 24 lines, equal line coordination setting in 24 line screens, okay, into position. Now you got the calculations of 9, 9, 9, 9. Equal line coordination is 9, 9, 9. So that's 4 lines of calculation, 4 lines of settings, 7 in provision, 7 digital line steering locations into 3 platforms in a rotation surface in a line calculation setting and operational line set locations in calculation setting and track location. Look how powerful that is. All 3 formulas of equation. Okay. All right, so that's done. We're going to wait on that rotation center. But again, If you look at this, it's the same. Okay, if you look at this, it's the same. And if you look at this, it's the same. Okay, so it's adding frames in position location, right? All right, so we've got 3 line centers. Let's set position to its factor. Factor position lines, all levels of bracket communication, 3 weather pattern lines, like a line interference, alpha line rotations. Sonar communication, 0 line rotation. Okay, 0 communication, triangulation, reset programs, all levels position. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, crossing lines, 1, 2, 3. Sets position. So that's 4 lines equal to lines of 3. Sets position of 7 location centers. Direct location of 7 lines, 7 position, 7, 7, 7. Bracket communication equal lines of 0 line. Sets a 1 line rotation of 24. Line set location 24. Locations into higher self, avatar, and sim. Now it's 3 lines of correlations, a 3, 2, and 1 track location. Okay. Now we take the 3 line settings, equal line correlation setting, Merkaba up, Merkaba down, center line rotation, center interference. Sets position location operation line settings. All levels of an open sequence panel, indirect signal to its operation surface in position location. Okay, done by equation. All right, so what I'm doing, I'm just basically scaling lines of reverberation channels. Setting formation lines of bracket communication line settings, bracket correlation settings and calculation, right? So it's all about extending the point systems to direct signals in 3 locations. Diamond core line shift lines lock point systems and all position line connections, 4 in center, 3 in activation, 4 in center, 3 in activation, 4 in center. So 3 lines calculation line interference at 3, 3, 3. 2 panels, line rotation, center and track location, 3 lines, a high position location, high system. Sun comes in, line rotates the system location to a center location. Very complicated stuff, done by equation, right? Cross positions all levels. Now, we get into coloration. Okay, coloration line sets. Okay. Now, in that position, so we go into this signal and 2 track locations. All right. Now, that opens up the panel lines into 3 line rotation, into alpha tones in 3 locations. Okay. Directing lines of the sun line, rotors, and the calculation centralized center position. Sets position location 6, lines of 3, into 2, into 1, into 0 communication. That's center line connection. Okay, done by equation. Okay, that surfaces out. Mechanism high charges and line rotation. So getting in that signal, again, you have to understand your formulas equation, how it goes into bracket surface. Now, because you guys are in a 24 measure, 24 calculation settings, so those 24 line settings equals lines waiting on signal to 48 in rotation. Okay, sets position location walking line settings, I setting location 72, and 144 is on line rotation center. Okay, so we colorate the path into 24 lines of security in line rotation and center communication. Okay, now the 2 line track lines of 4, vortex stream location and 2 lines, scales position location system and track location. Balance position line calculation setting, pyramid activation line connections. Color the line strip in line rotation of 3 lines, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, pi. Okay, panels lines of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now we come into all calculations into another ground lines and pyramid line stream locations into 2 panels, 2 line divisions, and 2 line connections. Change the coloration path. Okay, to triangulation to a pyramid line rotation surface. Okay, walking panels, cross line connections. Okay, this is where it gets complicated because you use the molecule structure lines and 3.4 system location travel settings. Okay, this is where it comes into pattern position to its operation set locations and point systems. Point system line settings into Merkaba change in direction. So we come into line rotation. Okay, 1, 2 panels position line security. So 24 lines of calculation, 24, 24. Okay, it's 24. 4 lines of element. Okay, 4 equals lines. XT lines, locations, 1 line measure. Puts position on the 2 track line calculation setting high center interference. Deviate the line center location triangulation line rotation centers. Puts line positions of 40 line rotation, 72 in line position to its operation into 144 line rotation center and track locations. Okay, done by equation. All right, so that's going to travel out. Now, getting into mechanism of power is power over the mind, and how we use the mind conception location streamlines. So really understand how to use the formula through line rotations into bracket centers. Okay, bracket communication of hangers. We know that, right? Then we have to understand this and what that means in set locations. Then we have to understand what this means. Then we have to understand what this means. Then we understand what this means. 3 signature line settings, right? They're all different. They look the same, but they're not. This is an alpha, this is a delta, and this is a theta. Okay. Waving correlation setting and high calculations. All right. So in position of 3-point centers, location. So we have the higher self, we have the avatar, and we have the sim in position locations into a computer frame. Okay. Boom. Bracket correlation setting, 0 line operation, 0 line operation, regulation line position location, diamond core, and line rotation center. So in position locations, there's so many different ways to do a formula equation, guys. 3-point systems of weather lines, 2 levels of line position locations. So waving central lines, sun comes in, moon comes in line position to its operation to protect its light location setting. Okay, so second is a line rotation of 2 panels, position. So 2 bracket communication triangulation lines, high calculations, point system, point system, point system. All right, colorate the dot lines, point line centers, location centers into point system line conditions of center operation and set locations. Okay, now getting into that position, you get the XT1000, 2 above line streams. Okay, so they come into position levels, travel line centers of point system, travel line center location of point system. Okay, then we come into this line calculation, all levels of center position. Okay, then we downshift cross line calculations to a diamond core line into a new line rotation. Crop circle line division and position to center. Okay, now we come into the domes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 24. Okay, and then we go into security and position of panel lines and high location. All right, so we go into 2 bracket lines. This opens up Asgard and higher formation line calculation. Okay, done by equation. Very complicated to do these things, but really understand why is the how. It's offset location. All right, so we keep that on the line rotation. It's coming back in this line conditions. Okay, so getting into signature streamlines and 24 line calculation setting. So we're on a 14 line, 8 line rotation. 48 measures scales, high calculation balance lines, both positions, all levels. This is where it comes in the Argo location settings of wall line rotation and center calculations. Point system, set lines of calculations into 1, 2, 3 line rotation centers. Okay. Okay, so in that rotation center, we come into the center position to its operation in a Fibonacci line. Stargate line rotation surface into a star portal in position. Okay, so we set up another line center of a point system. Point system is everything from one location to the next. Okay, so you really have to get into that modifications of 4-point systems, right? The molecules, how they come together, right? So crossing line calculation setting to a new surface and a new lines in position to its operation. Okay, done by equation. All right, very complicated. Okay, once you get that in position, we set the Wi-Fi, equalines, bracket correlation setting to 2 panel position location of 1 measure. Okay, now measure lines of 1 line rotation is center cross line calculations. Right, we come at a timestamp, box line, center line rotation, center interference, position locations setting in 3 locations. Okay, so we come into the sun and we surface only in a 3 line rotation surface. Okay, we stop there, right? So we come into all lines of vector cross streams into flux capacitor. The compressors are releasing line rotation, sets line calculation setting in 2 line waves. Okay, center position, crossing line connections. Okay, so we come into this in line position to its operation. Okay, so in that position locations, we come into this location, intelligence stream location. Okay, high position line centers, docket on line rotation center, intelligence. Very powerful, isn't it? Then we come into the clustrum in line set locations, into the shoulder blades in high position to its operation. Okay, one shoulder line calculation into another calculation set location. All right, so in that position, we work with everything in the cerebral cortex lines, center line rotation surface, and center line communications into galaxy line connection. All right, so this opens up panels in a triangulational rotation surface, indirect signals, okay, in position, its operation. Setting communication lines with laser grids as settings, line crosses line position, its operation, right? So we got thicker channels on line calculation setting and so on. The 3 triangulation applications. Operation line settings at high calculation center and center line connections. Path positions of pathogens, line direct signals, location center. Okay, done my equation. Okay, so that's done. Now it's going to get more complicated because we're going to get into tri-lines. Now we get a tri-communication. Number set locations of tri equals line, line equals box, triangulation line position, triangulation line position. Okay, so we split the line division and we set up a vortex line, circle line to a path line. Okay, to wall communication stream location. Okay, we down cross line calculations and patterns. Okay, now we set up a wall connector. There's the wall connector. All right. So we in position locations, we come in this line connections of panels and split it into anomalies to set location. One line setting. All right, so set location line center interference comes into log coefficient of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Coming in triangulations, 3 weather pattern position locations, question mark line coefficient percentage. Line set location of 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. Line location of 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, now it gets interesting too because we got 2 panels correlation setting attraction. Again, that's 1 line divisions. So in position, pyramid line position locations opens all channels. There's operation. All right. So that's one wall sequence. It's all set of locations. So we indicate lines of 0, locations of 1, and locations of 1, and locations of 1, 1. We'll go into the tri-lines into levels of relays, into 0, into 1 location. Okay. Now we cross the stream location of Merkaba. Merkaba center lines its location set into a tetrarect location of force line in rotation. So correlates and travels lines of 0 lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 24, and 1 rotation center. Calculation line centers crosses line calculation setting and location system and 24 line rotation. Tracks its correlation setting. They set the 0 platforms, 0 calculations, 0 division line interference, and 4 lines of waving patterns. Okay, same locations all of us crossing line calculation setting the streams. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now in position, come into 0 line into new platform communication cycles. Center communication of platforms and line rotation. Okay, crossing lines in center. Okay, to your position locations into fractals. Okay, setting position locations all levels. Set position line condition line center to travel communications. In set location line setting. Okay. So again, we start with location center as high position into all set connections. So once you set locations in this line connection, and once you stand position locations into all line settings, high location to your system, positions there's this location center line and rotations in this location. And you come in this line position location and its operations for location to this line connections. Then everything starts to measure. Now getting to measure correlations of panels, Redirects the surface. Now, this is where you come into the 48 channel stream. Now we're in 48. 24 is off signal. 24 is in balance, and 24 is line settings. We got 24 center, and we got 24s on left, and 24s on left, and we got a 24 ground set location. All right. So this is where it gets into its locations. Now, set lines of 48. So where is that in positions to its equal light where it's setting and travels? 40 equal lines of 0, 0, 1, right? Okay. So now we go into triangulation of 3 line calculations, right? Then we go into 0, 0, 2, and then we go into 0, 0, 3. Okay? So that's where you are now in 48. Box rotation center sets position location line settings. All right, so 40 comes in the sun, and we only use the communication line setting and stream locations to the upper above line condition to the universe location. Okay, so in that calculation of the point systems, we go through the 24 lines, okay, of point systems, all right? This bracket's location of hanger lines. You just Stargate center location of centers, okay? So we cross stream, okay, and we create the data line stream location of the box line settings. All levels of traffic communications. 3 line positions. So we go into 3 line calculation setting. Timestamp line position location of pi. Direction. Now, in that direct line centers, the 24 lines measures comes out of sequence in 3, 4 line rotation, into 2, 3, 4 line setting, into 2, 3, 4 line connections, okay, in high calculations. 1, 2, 3 graph location, right? Now we come into location grid. We say in the line setting location of location grid. In position is operation. Sets lines as 0 line correlates setting to 24. Rotates the surface in 12 line signals. Calculation high center and location line centers and star maps, stargates and star portals, and star position. Starts calculation high center location of 0 lines in position of center communication to its operation. So we come into line positions to a 48 line window and framing and line division to its intelligence of frame location. Done by equation. All right. Mechanism of energetic line streams and set locations into ordinary locations of fractals. Fractals correlations of 48 lines of frame lines. That's where you are in clock lines. Okay, so we take that into the equation. Now, because you guys are in the setting lines, high center interference, you guys are in your throat line communication 114. So that's 114. Okay, so that's 114 line settings. 1, 1, 14 equals lines of 24. 24 equals lines of 12. 12 lines locations into 48. Sets location measure. Equal line calculation setting positive. Pi inner lines is calculation setting to position location of levels. Sun equals lines of the moon is set location of travel. Okay? And so as you set these things up, the systematic line calculation, the memory line comes in 2 tracks. Point system line settings and all set location. All right? So we come in position location of the platforms into tunnel lines. Now Stargate panels, star line rotation center and line center location system to energy line calculation setting, location setting. Point systems, endpoint systems, and center line communications in 4 lines and 5 track location of elements and center position operation. Triangulation resets, program location in 3 lines, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8 in line setting of direction. Okay? So comes in all levels. Funnel communication stream location. All right, so that overcross line calculations goes over line settings of pi in position location of the sun and the moon of light location centers and all levels of operation. Okay, done by equation. Okay, yeah, drink your water. So that's going to come out of the equation settings. All right, so set up space lines and timelines. Space line position. Sets communication of pi, indicates lines of 24. Equal lines of 48. Okay, 72 is outline, and 144 is waiting on signal locations at the top signal. 24 o'clock line high interference is at the equation of 24 line settings. So 24 lines is just an echo frame. So now you know 48 line graph line into a box line frame. Okay, sets position of 3 track locations. All right, bracket locations of point systems and wall levels. point system lines into your files in 3 lines of indication, set locations. All right, so in placebo, cloud line rotation, ground lines. Okay, point line rotation to cells, crossing line signals. Now, these are directing signal locations setting to your proton electrons. Electrical line communication centers and track locations. This is clock line universal line calculated setting in 1 cycle, and line rotation center position to its operation. Right there, okay? So measurement of count lines, washing lines 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 20 lines at all 4 line rotation surface. Okay. Graph calculation streamlines of walking signals and line rotation surface locations. Okay, so measures and point systems and box locations. 2 lines of calculation streamlines of 3 centers, 3 operation, 3 positions, 3 calculations, 3 lines of center, 3 lines of operation, 3 lines of center. Okay, so we take the 3 track lines into the Merkabah set location, cross line calculation setting into line position solar graph line condition all levels and set position operation. Okay. Flywheel mechanism lines of figure 8. There's the figure 8 line conditions locked in sequence. Okay. So we got the graph line correlation settings. Let's set that up. Line direct signal locations in 1 waving line cycle, line rotation center. Okay. So we open the panel communication line settings. Fibonacci 8 line rotation grounds, Fibonacci location centers of center position, and Fibonacci line rotation in a figure 8 motion. Electrical line calculation settings and 48 frame line rotation centers. Setting direct line conditions all levels. Okay. Now it comes into new timestamp, measures and accountability in line string locations. That equation. Okay, so that's outline. Out division and metric screens, panel settings, high center location of 0 lines, 1 lines, split the anomaly in center position, right? Cross locations in all calculation. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Application centers, all line positions. Now we get a mountain interface. XT1000 comes into line position to its operation location. This is where it comes into Lima. Okay. Lima interforce line calculations to Papa, line position locations, all the objection set location of center lines. Set specification of pyramid line stream locations. Okay, so in that case, high interference, mountain line stream location of centers. All right. Sun comes in, line connections, all levels. Rotates the surface location system and track locations to the moon in line setting and location. All right, so crosses line stream in 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, and 6 position to its operation. Okay. Scales and line settings, 0 communication, all levels of center position, crop circle. Calculates, modifies all levels of triangulation, resets of programs and set location. Okay. So get in position of platforms in 3 line settings, okay, into 1 block location. Okay. So that panel's off, sets lines of communications into triangulation reline programs into triangulation rotation surface. Very complicated stuff, but look at the intelligence. Okay. Now, to understand how this is all set up, it's all set up for your line settings and understand how to set location in your systems all through travel communications. Okay. Okay. Setting these up for you really gets you into modifications. So your 48 lines equals lines, 72 line tracks into 144. Equal locations of 114. Sets locations into 6, 6, 6, 6. 4 bracket locations, line centers. So energetic line waves and 6 positions of panels, 2 track location, 3 lines, 6 position of 4 lines, 6 position of 6 lines in location center. Now the crossing line calculation setting comes in this position location to its pyramid. Routers line positions are center lines. Bracket communication lines this way, 3 line communications, right? And then it goes this way in communication, the opposite line rotation center, set locations. Panels, lines, and high end rotation service in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 direct signals. Now directing communication lines of panel lines, this opens up patterns. Mechanism left 24 lines of 48, 72, and 144 in 4-point systems. Okay. So bring in the XT1000 and 2-line settings. Okay. So they scan right away in point system. Okay. Scan right away in point system. All right. And then we get 2 panel location height grids. Okay. Low speeders. They scan positions upline signal in position, upline signal in position, upline signal in position. Okay. Done by equation. All right. So 4 panel streams are set up into 5 elements of space and time. So we in position locations, ground line to streamlines, and direct signal. Okay. So this opens up all position location and graph lines in your theta line, box line, stream locations of center. So plasma energy lines sets location in set line connections. Okay. Plasma lines and high line rotation, surface, and triangulation resets of programs. Directing communication of panel lines in line position locations in all settings to another pyramid at line position to its operation. Working with 2 pyramid line settings. Panel position locations, all settings. 4 equals lines of 72, waiting line rotations in computer frame. Sets position to graph lines in 2 panels into 144. So you got 4 lines of 9 and 3 lines of 9. Calculations of 7 over pi. Position locations and setting. Puts position lines of 5, lines of 12 into 24. Now 24 is out of sequence. Now it's in 48. 40 line rotation centers of 6, 6, position location center, 6, 6, position location center. Sets line calculation split the anomalies in a new line pyramid, line center, and line rotation of surface and set location. Done by equation. Very complicated stuff, guys. Very complicated, right? Because now you're in a 48 window. You're in the window frame. And then you go into the computer frame. And then you go in the crystal grid, right? So we're going into 4 clocks into 1 cycle communications of setting. Seconds, lines of minutes, and minutes per line calculations of hour. Setting line calculation settings, all line rotation interference is travel communication in set position. It's operation. Okay. Through its operation. Look at that. Okay. So everything's set up through sequence. Okay. Once you get your panels and more line rotations, your formulas equations will form. And what I mean by form, they come into structure of its own design in line with centers and line rotation center position to its operation of 2-point systems. 2-point systems right there, right? So calculation line centers and line rotations. So we get the line calculations, Fibonacci line swirl, location system. It's a 2-point system line settings. We go into point line centers, 1 position location of 2 direct lines into Fibonacci line swirls, directing communication of 4 lines, high calculation stream location center of operation. Right? So that's why I want you guys to get in your formulas equations so you get into structure of design through capsules and metal plates and line calculations and grid lines, correlations of panel communications, higher line division locations, mechanism high travels, higher line center line interference, high positions walls, sets location higher travel communication centers of operation line set location of system and travel communication. Okay. So we all understand how this all works inside position to its operations because the formula really redirects panels. So we got 4 graph location screen lines and 3 line positions of 4. Okay. 4 lines of calculations, triangulation, triangulation. Okay. Space in between. Okay. Center communication, all levels, graph and calculation of galaxy line condition. Right? So that's what you're doing. You're adding structures and then you add the frame. And then you add the frame, you add the galaxies or universe or anything location in the center. Right? And it gets easier as you know exactly what you're doing in location of panels and line condition of the sun and the moon through rotation, surface, and set location. Getting that position locations come to all triangulation reset position programs. Okay? Look how powerful it is. So it's incredible. What you're doing is you're recreating line position to your settings and location. Look at that. All through structure location of a box line. So mechanism line calculates setting of streamlines. That's way down to signal location of panels. Direct and calculation setting. I did that on live, right? So we got the grid. This is the grid. Okay, this is a grid. Okay, that's what a grid looks like. Okay, and then you get panels. Okay, you have panels, right? So in that location line system, trees said how to use them, right? Through the numbers. The numbers come in position. The numbers come in position. So they go around the system locations. Okay. So 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay. Rain graph screens. Okay. Fractals. You guys are coming fractals now. So you have to understand how to use it through energetic graph line connections to stream location settings of indication. It's very powerful line rotation centers. I'm just going to start with the zeros and ones. Students get too complicated for higher line positions. So you go into higher levels of traffic, you go into higher levels of indication lines of your inventories into 24 lines of letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols off the location. Okay? That's what you guys are in. So point system line settings, locations, take the molecule line settings, point systems here, and bottom locations, right? So you can take a point system here and 3, 4 point systems here in set locations, right? Point, 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 point. Here's a box, right? Triangulation resets. Okay, 3-point system. Sets locations, all settings. 3-point system, right? Molecule structure, location, design. Set locations, 3-point systems, 3-point system, 4-point system, 5-point system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-point system. All right. So it's all about connecting to all the settings. So once you get into measure, in 2 lines, the location of 3 lines is a 3 triangulation reset. Remember how you go from all letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols? So it's all about putting this all together through 0, 0 of 2 lines and 1 line rotation of box location. Set a position line calculations into 1 lines and 2 lines of track location, line center location of 3 sets. Set location of 0 lines and 1, 1, 1 in position location triangulation of pyramid line rotation center and track location. There's your pyramid. You're always working with pyramids inside locations. The pyramid is inside, always inside. That's the pyramid. You're always working within the pyramid inside. So the film strip comes in. This is the film strip location centers, the track location. Okay? Really understand how to break these things down. It's going to get very complicated now because your point sets, the molecular structures now are fractals in position of traction. Very faster. So point systems comes out of line settings in 3 track locations, right? Set location in 3 triangulation reset position of program set locations. Okay, comes positioned into the sun, into the moon, and sets position locations at all levels of operation surface in 1 point system and line connection. Very complicated stuff, but it works inside the pyramid, guys. Capsule of its own design, all 3 shapes and anomalies. So what you're doing is you're teleporting line calculation setting. You're setting high position location energetic graph lines and telewaving, telecommunication, telegraphing. It's all through our calculation system to your routers and understand your routers and line rotation center location to your system. Remember the rotary call line center location and you put your finger in line connection, dial position track lines. Well, geometric line streams and high calculation setting location into all levels of 0, alpha, delta, and theta. You split the anomalies in 2 track locations, 2-point systems, 2-point systems. You're always working with alpha, you always work on delta, you always work on theta. Okay? So inner line calculation setting track location system. Let's bring in the waves. Inline settings. There's the alpha line communication. Okay? Very complicated stuff. All right? And then we get a delta wave. Line crosses line center locations, upline, wing lines, high calculation stream location centers. Okay? And then we got the theta. Theta comes in high center. Theta comes in line rotations into box locations. Okay, these are dimensional lines and calculations of pi. Okay, so let's go into 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 door line screens and set locations, right? And again, still within your pyramid, right? So now we're working with all positions of a computer frame, all through 48 frame lines, rotation centers, seconds, minutes, and hours, through alpha, delta, and theta communication, track locations, right? All through your pyramid line setting. Okay? Everything is astronomical when you understand the set design. How you come into the molecules of numbers, letters, shapes, and symbols, right? 4-line communication by line setting. There's an atom line interference. There's a molecule structure communication line interference and position tractions. Photons offline calculation, bring that in the center. S-band Fibonacci swirl. What we do through calculation setting through a box line rotation. Set position back in molecule structure. Alter set design through pyramid. Everything stays in frame locations, right? Hold on a sec. Okay, so it's going to get very complicated, but a lot more informative to really understand how to use it through your graph location screen lines. Because now we're in the calculations to set locations in your 48 frame settings. Okay? That's why I want everybody on Zoom for Q&A. Okay, it's getting very, very complicated now. Okay. All right, so where are we in provision location? Janelle locations, all levels, high center interference, lower line rotations, all Nikki is location Janelle location Heather, Edwards location, all settings, Prismar. Ziggy line settings, also has that Chris, Danielle. Yeah, so that's what it's all about, guys. That's what it's all about. But this is how it comes in instruction of designs. Okay, just through a box line screen. Okay, so that's understanding how to use your higher self. Higher self. how to use your avatar, okay, and how to use your sim, right? The sim is the point system of location. Point, right? That's what the sim is used for. Avatar is to create the center, okay, of its tesseract, tetrahedron, modification, anything in that setting, okay? And the higher self is the controlling mechanisms of the human resonance execution system or levels of travel. Okay, so you understand the whole point system here. What the higher self does, moderation to human resonance, what the avatar does through its GOD, geometric operation design through structure, and what the sim does through navigation to point system to point system. Okay, point system to this location. Very complicated stuff. Extremely complicated. Okay, but it's a lot more fun now because your structures of your design and your cerebral cortex lines are changing. The waving of the spectrum, force recognition of life force is high forcing now into higher calculation locations, all through settings, all through travel. Okay, all through travel. Okay, and all through travel. All right. All right, so in that rotation centers, 3 waving patterns. Now we got the alpha line communications, delta positional levels, 2 panel line rotation, 1 center, point system, location, and track. Okay, 3 weather line rotation centers, location line centers, point system, 3 locations. Now you can space it out in triangulation resets to assist locations, right? So there's so many things that you can do once you understand how to set up these location centers to your line position to a center location. All right. Point system line connections, point, and point line centers, 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 point line center, point line center, point line center, point center. Everything is point center. Everything is position location, point center to your location system. It's all position line calculations extending to your pyramid of operation. Okay. That's all it is. So once you understand that your body is nothing but a center location, let's really understand how to use it, right? You in the center. Okay, that's you, right? Center operation. Pretty simple, right? It comes in this position locations. That's all it is. Come into this location center. Come into this location system. So, and then you come into this line connection setting. There's so many different ways you can basically create yourself inside locations to your tesseract, your tetrahedron. Okay. Okay. So once you get into that setting, you can just travel out. Travel back in lines, sun lines, plateaus, line rotation centers, and 1 platform in dimensional door. There's a door right there. Right? So to get there, you go here, inside, cross stream. Platform communications, but you need a 24 clocking, 48 and 72 and 144. Okay? All right, so that's the whole idea. So you better understand that because that's what the higher self does through the avatar and the sim. They all work together, right? Which is your oversoul. So understand your timelines and set position your bracket communicates and centers, a point system, 0 lines, and 1 line rotation center interference. Or you think through decimal communication system, 0 points, 1, 1, position location 1, 1, 0 point, 0, 0 location of 0 is line condition of 1. So that's 1, 1. So that's 2 lines. So in the line calculation settings, so anything underscore line communication is a negative line rotation. So that's 2 over negative. You got a 0 operation into 1 indication and a 0 operation into 1 indication. So that's 101. Bracket correlations in 8 track lines because 1 line's division location is 0 lines, 2 panels, a 2-point system, 2 operation. So in that correlation setting comes a 0 line correlation setting, inline rotation surface, and triangulation high position locations programs. Okay, into its plateau, a 24, 48, 72, and 144 plateau rotation. The travel. Dimensional door, dimensional door, dimensional door, dimensional door. Okay. So that's why it's so important to understand your clockings, right? Because your position location is known as the 48 line settings, stream location to bracket communications. Okay. So equal lines 72, waiting on signal into 144 location. Okay, that's where we are right now. So we're in the box frame. So once you send the box frame to 4 lines, then you send the infinity cycle communication, send a travel communication, AA positions, AA position location of space, and position location of time, split position. Okay? So that's why I want you to really understand how to use your equations, right? And how to do it through all levels of structure. You can set a point location center, set up a colossal line communication of cloud and line rotation. But that indicates line calculation of 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Triangulation line calculations, 3 weather patterns, percentage over 30 line rotation, sending position track lines into 1 signal, 0 lines of correlation setting into levels of 7. This is the numbers. So once you understand that, then you understand the set locations of box lines. Box location, box location. Okay? So everything works in the center line communications of operation, inside position to its calculation. Okay? And the center line communications of operation surface locations. Downshift high position location settings. See intelligence? Everything is forms of intelligence. Everything is in forms of intelligence. Okay? Understand that, then you understand why you come into all set locations with different multiple levels of you. Okay? All right. I showed you exactly what's going on with TikTok, right? Where you see the cloud line settings, nice set locations. Cloud line rotation, set locations, set line conditions, intelligence, right? So that's what you're working with. Now, but the 40 window frame is coming into traction, it's coming into form, it's coming into all levels. The conditions all levels to your factorial communication, sending to your fractions is coming to high generation stream locations of patterns. Now, this opens up all line rotation center to your surface and set locations, right? Point systems of point line centers, 4 point locations, right? Into 3, right? So that's 1, 2. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see how that comes into 1, 2, 3, 4? So in line connections, equal lines of 3. Where's the 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the 3. Okay, and set locations. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we all have to get into this now. You have to get into the shapes. You have to get into letters, numbers, and symbols, because now you're in a 24 lines. Equal lines at inventory. Equal lines a matrix grid. Okay, and the matrix grid comes into all levels of colossal. Calculations at CPU. All right, into compute system. Okay, equal lines correlations to box triangle. Set position traction. Okay, so inline rotations of 48 lines of windows. Frame. Travel communication of 2 pounds positions of operation. Okay. So, how are we doing so far? Try to understand what's going on. It's getting more difficult now, right? But you're getting a little bit more understanding now where you come into your systems. We're out of the 24 clocking. The 3 provision lines allocation universal clock lines is in 1 cycle now. So it's in future adaptation locations. Past, present, future is now 1 cycle communications. But we got to get into the 48 wave lines into the frame. And then we go into the 72 computer frame. And then we go into the 144 crystal grid. So it puts you into operational line state locations to change you guys in your algorithms into your fractals, that's allocations, for travel. Okay? All right, see you in 5. Adios.